You want to go to space and scaling up? We do have the rocket theme. What's going on, everybody? This is gonna be a fun session. Y'all have already you've been through a lot this morning where you've learned a lot. The social discussion was really active. Media mix modeling. We learned from Line what are the most advanced lead tracking partners out there. And I think there's a media debate that's happening along the same time as this. So I am stoked about this because we have a range of different sizes of DSOs. And the cool thing about this, I imagine a lot of the attendees in this session are not just going to be dental marketers because what we're going to talk about is going to apply to we shouldn't even have really called it. We shouldn't have called it dental future trends because we're going to talk about things that apply to every industry, regardless of whether you're in a DSO or not. And the cool thing about the dental marketing industry is dental consolidated before almost any other healthcare service vertical. So they're more advanced in a lot of stuff they do. It's very retail focused. Mama makes the decision. And so they've been more innovative historically in how they run their media and marketing than other healthcare services verticals. So we're going to get going with intros. We're waiting on Jody. She'll be here in a little minute. When she comes in, we'll have her intro. Mr. John, can you give us a little intro? Who are you? Where do you hail from? And what do you do?
Yeah, so John Pham. I head up the marketing department at PDS Health, formerly known as Pacific Dental Services. Been here for about 4 years and love what I do. Dental is an amazing space, and what we're doing to revolutionize dental is amazing.
Yeah. And I think part of what you're doing to revolutionize has something to do with the name change. We'll dive in later. Thanks, John, all the way from Irvine. He's back in time and has woken up extra early to join us. So that's very nice. It's really not that early. It's 8:30. John's been up for 5 hours. Chris, tell him a little bit about yourself, my friend.
Yeah, Chris Bird, Vice President of Marketing for Mosaic Dental Collective. I've been with this group for a little over 6 months. So still getting my feet wet to a degree specific to dental. I came from a private equity backed group within the eye care space. I was there for about 6 years, and prior to that ran some agencies. And so I'm excited to be in dental, and even talking to John and Jody, they've had some good insight. Very, very, like you said, very different positions than I'm in from a size perspective, but I'm excited to get into it. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. And your history and having been on the dark side in agencies, my favorite side, is paramount. And you've been in other healthcare services vertical, so you have a unique perspective that, we've gotten jaded with dental, and you may have a different perspective. I'm excited. How many locations is Mosaic? That's important.
We're 65.
65. John, just a little bit different than that.
Yep, we're about 1,100 across 25
Good.
states.
So we're going to have the range and Smile Brands when Jody comes, 600 something. So we've got the whole gamut, guys. So we're not just going to talk enterprise. We're not just going to talk SMB. We're going to talk the whole thing. And actually 65 is not SMB. I think that 500 plus employees, that doesn't even qualify as SMB anymore. So we're going to jump around a little bit. What I want to start, the theme of last year and a lot of what we heard this year is getting marketing and ops alignment so you guys can do all the wizardry and enact all the marketing programs that you want. I'll open this up to all of you. John, how do you align your marketing goals with the operational priorities, especially when introducing new tech? And you've done a lot of new tech when it impacts both. Like, what do you do to make sure you guys get it rolled out? 1,100 locations, not easy to just roll out a CRM, I imagine.
Yeah, I mean, we break it down simplistically from new offices, which we call de novos, versus existing offices. And we focus on new patient acquisition in both, and then CCX retention, which is just continuing care patients, right? The way that we align with them is just conversions, our cost per appointments, and how do we influence case acceptance. And so as long as we are doing those three things, that's what we're doing to support the business. And things like how online reviews impact cost per appointments, and what marketing is doing to influencing those appointments and driving revenue.
When John, before you bring on any kind of new partner, so it sounds like you have your KPIs, same for almost every initiative, or are you okay with some directional information, or it's like, hey, we want to know if we're influencing new patient appointments, et cetera, and that is going to be our marker that we're going to pay attention to every time. And then are you guesstimating and then checking back 6 months later? What's the thesis?
I mean, that's a good question. When I started about 4 years ago, we had to completely rebuild our MarTech stack and how we did our tracking. And so when we do marketing initiatives, whether it's paid media, social media, email marketing, we track it all the way through to the patient acquisition, the appointment booking. And that allows us to understand how many appointments marketing is influencing. We're roughly influencing about 25% of all appointments, because the majority of the appointments are still coming from referrals, insurance, walk-ins, those types of things. But out of the 25% of appointments that we influence, because we track it all the way through, now we can see who's confirming, who's showing up, how much revenue they're bringing in, whether they're new patient revenue versus CCX revenue.
I love that. In-house CRM. Did you build all your tech? You guys are so big. Are you using stuff off the shelf to
No,
track everything?
we try to buy versus build, right? We're not in the development industry. We're more into, how do we leverage the best in breed and
I love that.
leveraging, our expertise and connecting the dots.
Can't wait to talk more about that later. I've seen the big groups occasionally go and build their own booking system. I'm like, God, there's so many of these off the shelf with a ton of devs that are fully dedicated to that. Why? Okay. So anyways, we'll talk later. That's cool. Chris, on a 60 location group, how do you influence the buying decision across the board to get adoption into new tech that you guys, pilot programs, et cetera? How are you treading water there, getting things adopted?
Yeah, on the ops side, I've kind of had to inherit what we've already had, because there was a big process to onboard kind of a broader communication system. We use Weave. And I've been pretty happy with it. I mean, but there's been a lot of collaboration with actually, I would say, just as much our head of IT as much as it is ops. I mean, making sure that, just the right systems are set up within our platform, and then me sort of having that communication back with the ops team, just making sure that, frankly, we're doing basics things like answering the phones. I'm like, that's and I know we'll get it online scheduling eventually, but the phones are the most direct path and largest path to getting a new patient. So having that communication with the ops team, almost what seems like hourly.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's interesting. I'm seeing IT is getting a lot more involved in marketers' lives than ever before, much to our disdain. We love you, IT people. A little tough. Work with us. And so, Chris, how do you get IT's buy-in? You take them out to dinner, you say, listen, I win, you win. What are we doing here?
Yeah, I'm fortunate where I'm at now. My counterpart on the IT side, he's fantastic to work with, super open-minded.
We found one.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I'm not going to get into details, but I can tell you I've had the experience of working with IT that has just been brutal and constantly butting heads. And so, I'll knock on wood here. Fortunately, I feel like I've got a really good partner. So that's certainly helpful.
I love that. It could be part of the interview process before anyone takes a job leading marketing at a provider group. Talk to all of the relevant parties you're going to have to be buddies with.
Yeah, right.
That could be an interesting part of the interview process. Interview them to see if you're going to get serious. Roadblocks, guys. Housekeeping, Q&A. If you have a sticky question, put it in there. I see the chats are blowing up. That's awesome. Q&A. Put it in either one. We're going to be checking, and then 15 till, which will put us at noon. We're going to be pulling those, and then we'll have them up on screen, and we're going to start going through questions. So you got about 20 minutes to get your questions in, and then we will take Q&A. I want these guys to answer what's on your mind, not just what's on mine. John, huge organization, and you've got MarTech rollouts. I know you've worked with CDPs. Explain what CDP is. How are you using stuff like that to create personalized patient experiences? I can tell you guys care about patient experiences and outcomes just by the name change. Tell us what you've been doing there.
Yeah, so just going back to what Chris was saying, right? We do have to partner with our IT partners, our IT BI partners, because we can't do one without the other. How important it is for us to integrate all of our MarTech platforms and just access to data. So we have to have that strong relationship. And fortunately for us, we were able to build that relationship in the very get-go. And we built out our 3 to 5 year roadmap and got IT aligned. So we painted a vision. This is where we want to go. This is what we want to do. And this is where we need your help. And they've been a partner with us the entire way. So it's been amazing. And so a
Smart.
part of that transformation, again, we rebuilt our MarTech stack over the first 2 years that I got here. And we're bringing all of our marketing data, our operational data, our revenue data into our data warehouse, right? So that way we can have a 360 view of patients. And that's where then we can leverage CDP to be able to segment, personalize, and create these journeys to do things like case acceptance, right? We have a journey where we're reaching out to patients that didn't accept crowns, and we are reinforcing the importance of doing it. Why not wait, right? And if you wait, this is the impacts and the cost. And if you don't convert, great. Here's a little promo, or here's whatever we need to do to get you to convert. And so again, that partnership is important to be able to enable us to do all of this personalization that we want to do, that we are doing.
Yeah. We're getting lots of questions on what a CDP is, all of this fun stuff.
Yeah,
It enables
CDP.
give a one-liner.
Yeah, so CDP is a customer data platform. And again, it sits on top of your data warehouse, and it allows you to query things like, give me everybody that is a cash patient, or give me everybody that is a Delta Dental Insurance on Delta Dental Insurance. Give me everybody that came in through this channel. And so that way you can start segmenting and figuring out what low-hanging fruit do you want to go after and target with your marketing efforts.
Can't you just go into a CRM and grab it? I want to help people understand, what is the difference? You build a CRM. Can't you go in and grab the cash payers, the people that came through PPC, the people that didn't get crowns? What's the difference?
Yeah, I mean, CRM, it has all of that information, but not all marketers have those technical chops to be able to run these queries, to be able,
Got it.
or even access to the data behind the CRM to be able to pull that data out. Whereas CDP enables you to, at a very simplistic way, to be able to just query and ask different questions, and then pull those audiences out. And what more importantly is to activate. When I say activate, is push those audiences to your marketing channels. A CRM won't do that.
It can't do that. That's right. So easier to segment, easier to query, easier to push out to an advertising.
Easy to
Good.
activate.
You comfortable sharing what CDP you're using?
Yeah, we're using a couple. Actually, we're in the beta version of High Touch and Salesforce.
All right, there we go,
Yeah.
guys. And there are different ones for different levels. Those might not
we use
completely.
them for different reasons. One,
Yeah.
some of them because of the activation. We are a blend between Adobe Shop and a Salesforce Shop, and then we also activate on other channels, which is why we're leveraging the two.
I love it. And guys, one thing I heard that John mentioned, let's not skip over it, is getting in there when you get the gig and painting the vision for the next 5 years. So you get everybody bought in. And then when there's hiccups, remember the vision is COO, CIO, CTO. This is what we're trying to accomplish. Let's all do this together. That's really smart. I think people just get in and they start running PPC campaigns and forgot that you really needed to paint a vision and get people bought into the transformation journey. Chris, mi amigo, what's going on? So online booking. You guys have it? Are you relying on calls, email, phone? What are we doing with online scheduling?
Yeah, we're actually just now starting kind of a test. We, out of our 65 offices, I think we have 5 different offices that are actively using it, and it's even across was 3 platforms. Now we're down to 2. And eventually, obviously, we'll consolidate down to 1. You know, it's been interesting. So I'm just now kind of starting that process of online scheduling and really kind of pushing that. Obviously, anything we can do from a call deferment perspective, you know, text, chats, anything like that, you know, I think we're better off for our front office staff. So given hiring challenges, just the volume of people through the office. So, you know, I know it's been kind of talked about. I was listening to the social earlier, great panel, by the way. But, you know, and they talked about just the basic concept of having a pilot program. And so that's essentially what we're doing, because I will say it's been interesting. I have found a lot of doctors specifically and front office staff are really, gosh, it sounds wild, but they're against online scheduling. They just feel like patients are going to make mistakes, right? It's a 30-minute slot and should be an hour slot. And I'm just like, guys, it's 2024. Like soon to be 2025. Like we're using AI. Like we can't even use online scheduling, you know? Hey, Jody. So the goal here is have a pilot, show success, right? I mean, not only new patients going up, but what percent, I'm excited to see what percent of new patients or even existing patients are we getting outside of normal office hours. So, you know, that to me those are the two key factors that once we see that in this pilot, we're going to push out to the broader group.
Yeah, John, online scheduling works pretty good, right?
Yeah, yeah. Online scheduling, to Chris's point, we're trying to enable our patients to be as self-sufficient as possible.
Yeah.
But we still get quite a bit of phone calls coming in, and we are working on AI tools where we're leveraging NLP, natural language processing, to be able to answer and help these patients self-serve to reduce the phone calls to the office, to our contact center. Yeah, self-service and patient experience is the top of our list.
Yeah. It's crazy. People still want to phone it. I get for like a crown and the higher acuity general dentistry. Come on, like, dude, I just want to clean it. I don't want to call.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, some of these specialties, I agree, right? General dentistry, emergency, book online, where some of the more specialties, they can't, because we need that personalized care.
Well, Mr. Bird, good luck in bringing Mosaic to 2024 out. You're the man to do it. I know you got it. And I've heard upwards of 85% of general dentistry appointments are made online with groups that have it fully fledged out. So you'll get there. Jody, how you doing?
You're on mute, Jody.
You might be on mute. Are you on mute?
All right. I've made it.
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yes. Yes, it's like the Verizon commercial. You've walked around the country and we can finally hear you now. We got you. How are things in Michigan?
It's beautiful fall day in Michigan. Couldn't ask for better.
I was talking to my friend that's going to be on the Get Scrappy panel in a little bit. She said it's snowing in Colorado, New Jersey. It's 85 degrees. We know what temperature it is in Irvine, California. That never changes. And Phoenix is hot as all get out. So we got those, but there's some variability. Jody, give a little intro on yourself and then we're going to get right into it.
Hello, everybody. Sorry, I'm a little late for this one. My name is Jody Martin, and I'm Chief Marketing Officer at Smile Brands. Been leading in that role for a little over 7 years, and handle both marketing and call center operations. And excited to talk about the future of marketing for dental.
600 plus locations, right? We've got the whole gamut, 60, 600, 1100. And we've been talking MarTech Foundation, Jody, and I'd love to dive right in before we move on, because you do something really cool there. You've got something called the Marketing Wellness Trek across Smile Brands. Talk to us about what that is, why that is, what you do with it.
Yeah, it's important for all of our locations to understand the fundamentals of where patients come from. So we started by drafting Patient Flow 101. So whenever somebody joins the organization, they get immersed in sort of the ABCs of driving patient flow to your business. And that's important because, it's really not marketing that drives patient flow in an office. It's really having all the fundamentals, in place to make it, so that all the other things will work in marketing. When we do marketing, it will work. So the wellness checks start with patient experience, that everything kind of begins and ends with patient experience. So what is an office's NPS score? What do they look like online? Are we getting complaints? Are there a lot of returning patients? All of those sort of basics around the patient experience. Then we look at staffing and scheduling. Is there room for new patients? And are their schedules set up to give patients, especially new patients, the types of appointments they're looking for? Can an emergency patient get in? All of those sorts of situations around staffing, scheduling, and templating. Then we look at call handling. Really the phone, I came in at the tail end of the discussion on online booking. I'd like to think we're at 85%, but really quite the majority of people still call to make their appointment. And if those calls aren't handled correctly, that appointment won't get scheduled. So we look at the number of calls, the call answer rate, the call conversion rate, and say, is an office, in good shape in terms of call handling? And then we look at things like digital presence. Are there opportunities to improve that? the effectiveness of the marketing program. And we go through all of those things, and we then together with the office, it's part educational and part analytical to get to what is the right plan to boost that office.
You have 100 people on your team. How are you guys going to every office? How do you scale this out? Is it a template? Who's scoring it? How do you?
Well, not every office has that level of need. So this is a tool that's used more with offices that really have a need, and they haven't been able to solve it on their own. And we use it, we've gotten better and better at like just creating the general reporting. So once people understand the process and understand the drivers, they can get at the data, and we can share the data so that they can, kind of self-serve.
Yeah, I love it. And I heard what you said there, that marketing, if I could wrap it up, marketing can't fix a business problem, but we can accentuate a great practice and help drive patients. And I like that you go in and set the table, guys. We cannot fix operational issues if you have them. We can't fix the patient experience issues if you have them, conversion issues if you have them. But if you have the right things in place, we can make sure everybody knows about it and starts filling these seats here. So I like that. I like that.
Limited marketing budget, obviously you want to spend it where it's going to work. And so if we spend on offices where the phone's not going to be answered for one, that's a bad deal.
That's frustrating. And guys, talking about call conversions and stuff, shameless plug for our sponsor. We got Line, Patient Prism, and CallRail. That covers the gamut of great lead and call tracking systems, and we love all of them. So guys, you've heard it from just about every panelist on every panel. It's incredibly paramount to track ROI. And CEOs love it because they get to see which agents don't convert, which locations aren't converting, and the reasons why, and tweak all of the operate. And it makes marketers look like heroes when you have the right data. It's crazy to me, Jody, that not everybody has sophisticated call and lead tracking these days, but that's why those companies are in business and doing quite well. John, Mr. Pham, why the name change? Not your personal name, still John Pham.
Yeah, that's a different story. So our founder and CEO, Steve Thorne, had a vision a few years ago, right? And he said, hey, there's a correlation between your mouth and your overall health, right? One is connected to the other, but historically, we've always treated dentistry and health two separate things. And so we've made a significant investment in onboarding our practices, our Pacific Dental Services onto Epic MyChart. And if you guys are familiar with what Epic MyChart is, it's a huge EMR system that a lot of the larger hospitals use. And so we made a significant investment to build out that platform to support dentistry that then now allow us to share dental and medical records back and forth, right? And now we're getting into the medical space. We're opening up medical practices to then now again, hey, you come in for your oral health, let us do some screening, right? Because there's a lot of biomarkers within your oral bacteria that impacts things like cancer, heart disease, preterm birth weights, Alzheimer's. And there's a lot of studies and research that's making that correlation. Then now we're saying, hey, because of these biomarkers, come and talk to your PCP, whether it's with us or any PCP, and making that correlation. So which is why we've switched our names from Pacific Dental Services to PDS Health.
What are some of the verticals you guys have spun up? Primary care? Are they close to the dental locations? Give us whatever nuances you feel comfortable with.
We're testing a few models where they have standalone practices. Well, a model that we're finding that is working well for us is the embedded model, where we have nurse practitioners within our dental practices. And then again, you can just go across the room and talk to a nurse practitioner or one of our docs that are embedded into our practices.
Yeah, I love it. And what I'm seeing a lot of dentistry groups do is you can get your Botox and your filler in the same seat too.
Yeah, one-stop shop.
I like it. I need some. I look really tired today. I was up late last night prepping for this. Chris, 60 some locations, patient acquisition, paramount. You just got there. What do you look at first to drive patient acquisition? What's most important in your mind?
Yeah, it's a lot of foundation setting. I mean, it was interesting. There wasn't a lot of, I would even say, systems in place. It was very disparate. We had different people doing different things. There was no sort of commonality amongst it. So a lot of it was, it's like anything else, right? You go in, you do an audit. Where are we at? Some offices are better than others. Fortunately, I will say the one thing I did inherit are I mean, just from an online perspective, amazing reviews. Our offices, to their credit, just their reputations are, 4.7 and above.
With an active review solicitation program or by accident?
No, it was almost by accident. So the volume wasn't there. I mean, hundreds, and in some cases lower volumes,
Okay.
but a lot of these individual practices have been around for 20 plus years. So it's sort of, organically built up over time. But of course, right now we've put in a new system in place where we're maintaining that high rating, of course, but now we have the volume, the consistency that, we think helps our SEO as well. So yeah, a lot of it's foundation setting. And then for me, I look at some of that's education too, because a lot of people think, with all due respect, they know about marketing and they know some of the details and how we get patients. So it's kind of showing them the data, like, no, this is actually really where we get the patients versus what we think, So
everyone's a marketer. You didn't know that?
Yeah.
Everyone knows what great websites look like, and they all say it should be modern and clean. That's the best advice. Well, kudos to you. We often forget that reputation matters more than anything. I see. It's quick. We're almost all private equity backed, right? So like everybody wants to scale advertising as quickly as possible, get the 3-year exit. Everybody gets their second bite. Everyone's happy. That's what the overlords want. But what they forgot is that we can drive more ads. But if patient A, if mama goes and looks and the reviews are 1.1 less than the neighbor, point mama ain't choosing us. So reputation matters. And thank you for saying SEO. I haven't heard it enough in these 2 days. We all forgot about my favorite thing. Jody, staying in the same vein of same store growth. John mentioned that they're leveraging first party data in their CDP to nurture patients along. Someone that didn't get a crown that I heard at Dykema, everything's about same store growth because interest rates are higher, yada, yada, yada. What do you guys do at Smile Brands to maximize capacity? Do you have any kind of systems that you're building there to get more people, more butts and seats, if you will?
Yeah, I mean, capacity is what it's all about. And obviously that starts with staffing. So, we've really made a lot of changes on the talent acquisition front. And I'd say our operation there is stronger than it ever has been. And so that's, paramount. And so we work very closely with that team to make sure that we've got the right people in the right places and optimize the staffing model in every location. After that, it comes into us having a good visibility of capabilities and really modeling where, who's ready. Who's ready and so where should we spend for the maximum results. And so when we understand that offices aren't in a position to convert marketing dollars, then we've got one set of actions to work with them on. And really more than ever before, we're coming up with ways to flex call handling support if that's where the issue is, or call volume support. Is it that you don't have enough at bats, or is it that you're striking out? And really, we were trying to be effective on both sides so that we make sure we're solving the right problem.
Right level of staffing, right at bats, right number. You've got a lot of data coming to you. You have a crazy dashboard that you're looking at every day with capacity levels and conversion rates.
I'd like to think it was this beautiful automated thing. There's still a lot of manual effort. The vision of the beautiful automated thing is there, and we're getting closer and closer all the time, but there's still a lot of heavy lifting involved.
Closer and closer all the time. Marketing is still an art. Thank you. The robots haven't taken over our jobs yet. That's good. We're still employable. John, what are you guys doing at PDS? I mean, y'all have huge talent acquisition needs, obviously. Does marketing support? Do you support on that side?
Talent acquisition, we support our recruiting team, just with some of the marketing strategies and things like that. But those KPIs are on that team, so we support. We don't oversee marketing or recruiting.
Yeah. It's like 30,000 foot support, I guess. Yes.
Yeah, we do partner. I mean, and going back to what Jody says, patient experience is important, as well as even team member experience is important. And so we formed these smaller groups where it's marketing, it's contact center, it's our Epic team, and it's somebody on the ops. So we're constantly talking about and looking for opportunities to improve, whether it is picking up the phone or it is conversions, the HC handoff, or the HC handoff on our side where we can get case acceptance. So we're constantly looking at areas for improvement because, again, there's always ways to improve.
Yeah, I love it. And team members matter just as much as patients, if not more, because they affect more than one patient. So I love that. That has to be front and center as well, making sure employees, colleagues are all having a great experience too. One more thing that us marketers get to worry about every day. Guys, I want to talk. We're going to queue up Q&A. Are those going to get to? Yeah, no rush. We got a few minutes here left. I want to talk 2025. We're very close. We just have one very silly week to get out of the way next week. And then we can really start thinking about 2025. I'm pumped. I want to go around the room here. What are your top challenge going into 25? Top priority going into 25? Top challenge, top priority. Top challenge, top priority. Chris, what's top of mind?
Yeah, top challenge, I would say, is just continuing our new patient growth. We've been pretty fortunate with some of our pilots. We've seen some really nice growth, but it's spreading that out at scale and then, maintaining that growth. That's, I would say, the biggest challenge. What was the other one?
Priority going into next year.
Priority. I'm actually going to say it's online scheduling. Again, it seems sort of basic to my colleagues here, probably not basic, like respectfully, like to John and Jody, but to me, it's just such a big opportunity. So that's going to be a big push for sure.
Yeah, good. Yeah, it's foundational stuff. You're doing the hard, necessary, not as fun things so you can have fun in later 25, maybe 26. So yeah, keep finding a good fight. John, top struggle, top priority going into next year.
Yeah, for us, top two challenges that we're working on is onboarding and retaining clinicians, right? Patient flow isn't always an issue at majority of our offices. It's how do we onboard and keep our clinicians and our talent? We have a lot of great partners and competitors like Jody and Chris's companies where our docs have a lot of options. And so how do we onboard them and retain them is one of our top priorities. Our second second one is around privacy and data. I mean, we know with cookie deprecation and all these class action lawsuits that are coming out, which is why first party data is so important, right? Pixel tracking and all those issues are becoming real, especially in the HIPAA space. And so navigating that is going to be important. So priorities for us, go ahead.
Go finish your thought.
Priorities for us, one is kind of going back to that mouth-body connection education, right? Your oral health impacts your overall health, helping our consumers understand that impact and why it's important for you to come and take a look at, come and visit our offices and help you understand your overall health. So that's one. The second one for us is going back to that patient experience. How do we continually improve that patient experience, building trust, and then increasing that case acceptance? Because that a 1% increase in case acceptance is massive for us.
Yeah. The advertising thing is a struggle with the cookies and the pixels and everything getting less effective. How do you scale it out? CDP is one way. I mean, you guys are taking a ton of the steps, and still the attorneys will come rummaging around because they get too patient and they say, yeah, they'll still knock on your door. I'm seeing them get dragged out, and with OHS, HHS, all of them starting to roll back regulation. Hopefully a lot of these class actions will get dropped unless someone's doing something so ridiculous, uploading patient data in a meta. That was so 4 years ago. Nobody's doing that, guys. So I hope you guys get through it. That is a top challenge, John. I'm glad you were brave enough to bring it up. A lot of people get nervous and squeamish when they talk about HIPAA compliance advertising, but find a good fight, and we've seen advertising improve. That is the cool thing over the last 4 years. We have seen advertising improve with all of the HIPAA compliance, regulatory advertising stuff. Healthcare marketers have onboarded new technology. They've learned new tricks. They've gotten a seat at the table with legal and CIO and CTO and CO. We're all of a sudden mission critical. So good luck, and cool to hear your priorities around onboarding and retaining clinicians. Do you have overlapping locations with Chris and Jody? Are we competitive? Did I not know that?
Yes, we certainly are.
I love it, guys. We're all here to help each other. Rising tide. Jody, I give tickets to all agencies for free to come to Scaling Up because we want to help everybody too. They're competitive. So I'm glad y'all are gracious. Hey, Jody. Okay. Top struggle, top priority going into next year. And then I'm going to take some questions from the audience.
All right. Well, top struggle is continues to be staffing, especially on the hygiene side, and wage pressure. I mean, there's been just astronomical growth in wages that has impacted the whole bottom line. So the rest of the operation has to find ways to be more efficient, and so so that brings us to some of the top priorities. One is one patient management system. So huge initiative to have a single patient management system across the whole organization. That's a multi-year effort to get there, where 2025 will be a key year. So that's important for both the patient experience, the clinician experience, as well as easier access to all the information we need to run the business. On the marketing side, basically right sizing marketing by office, making that efficient and automated, and making sure we're getting the most effective programs in front of each office and not being one size fits all. So that's happening on the current patient side, standing up Salesforce Marketing Cloud to be able to do more one-to-one marketing in converting our current patients into lifetime patients, taking care of their health. So those are pretty much some of the
Is
top.
that it?
Yeah, there's a few more, but I'll stop.
Oh my God, y'all have huge jobs. And it's cool what Jody said, guys. Y'all want to be a CMO of a 600 location group. You have to think like a business leader. Notice how she mentions wage pressure, things like that. Like we have to think like the C-levels think. We have to think like the CEO and the private equity guys and women think. Like those things matter. And then what do we do from a marketing perspective to combat some of that stuff? So yeah, you don't have it easy, Jody. It's cool to hear about the nurturing system you want to put in place and customizing marketing impact and advertising spend by location. Not easy. That means more data coming at you for 600 locations every day, capacity, staffing, blah, you got a big job going into 2025. We have a lot of questions. We won't be able to get to them all. Thank you guys. Thank you guys. I'm looking through them all now. And if we don't get to your question, there's an AMA later with our team. But if you want to reach out, Chris, John, and Jody are extremely generous. Go find them on LinkedIn if I don't get to your question, okay? And they're active and they'll answer them. All right, I'm going to pull some out of here that we didn't touch on. I like this one. Do you see higher cancellation rates with online scheduling versus called-in appointments? Anybody take it?
Slightly higher in our case, but not as much as we feared.
Do you do anything to combat it?
We encourage welcome calls if the office gets that.
Got it. John, similar?
Yeah, for us, it's not the difference between online and phone. It's the difference between how far they're scheduling out. So our goal is to get everybody within 7 days. The further we book them out, more likely for them to not show up.
John, will you cut off advertising if there's not appointments within 7 days? Is that your cutoff point? No appointments within 7 days. It's not likely to convert well or show up well. Do you use any metric like that?
Yeah, similar to what Jody said, if operationally we're not sound, if they don't have any availability, we then start reducing the amount of paid media marketing, right? Until they can get operationally sound, then we'll turn that back on. But there's no point of bringing people to our site and trying to booking online and not having things for them to be able to book.
It's maddening getting blamed for not getting enough leads. And it's like, you don't struggle from a lack of leads, buddy. You ain't doing anything. What are the ones that we send? Patient testimonials. How do you get them and how do you use them in marketing materials? Patient testimonials. How do you get them? How do you get them? And how do you use them? Anybody have any tricks?
No, I saw Dana's comment and I thought it was really great. And we do leverage a ton of patient testimonials because, again, there's a lot of stories around how it's impacting their overall health. So we're leveraging that. And in addition to that, we're leveraging influencers and content creators. Again, because we're all marketers, we know that social validation is very important. They want to hear from their peers a lot more than they want to hear from us. And so leveraging testimonials, social, and those types of platforms is huge for us.
I love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
we're very focused on a couple of our growing areas of lines of business, like clear aligners, implant retained dentures. Those are the areas where the testimonials are most valuable for us and where we're really actively collecting them.
Do you promote the nonprofit work that Stephen, you guys do through the foundation? Is that utilized as part of a differentiator for Smile Brand?
Yeah, it's in most of our offices. There's stuff on the walls, making sure they understand that that's an important part of who we are.
Yeah, I love it. And for me, that would matter. If I went into a location, I saw that marketing materials, that would matter to me. Maybe not everybody. Chris, you come from a highly referral driven, anybody can take this, but we've got a question. We usually rely on referrals historically. What do you recommend as the first steps to venture into digital? I've heard this many times throughout the year for smaller groups also. So actually not just smaller, a lot of groups grow through referral, and finally the entrepreneur and provider is like, we've grown this way the whole time. We don't need digital. Any tips, guys, to how to get a group starting into digital?
Get a good partner.
I can go. Again, insurance referrals, they still make up a majority of our appointments, right? Because that's where they're being covered and paid for. But to help offset, you have to have a combination between paid and non-paid, right? And if you need patient flow really quickly, leverage your paid. Yep. But in the meantime, don't forget SEO. Because SEO is a long tail marketing form, whether it's your content, whether it's your reviews, you continue to have to augment with omni-channel and can't just put all of your eggs in one bucket.
Yeah, agreed. I mean,
cheapest lead out there.
Chris. Yeah, it's the balance. I mean, I think we all know, again, SEO is the long game, it's the marathon, but you've got to do it. If you got to start today in order to see the benefits, and paid is that spigot you can turn on and off. Same here.
Yeah.
And
SEO's been maddening the last few years too. Up, down, Google, tell us something that we can use. Come on, what's up, Jody?
Well, we've been also, as part of the wellness check process, making sure the offices understand that they play a role in SEO, and it's not just a centralized marketing thing. So if you provide the testimonial content and the social content, that's going to help your SEO. So, we're trying to make it easier and easier for them to do it, and make sure that it's not just those few, Facebook happy folks that are doing it, that it's really across the board, and that they understand it's part of driving SEO. They don't really understand how SEO works, but they understand that they want it. And if we can give them a reason to participate, it's all the better.
Yeah,
they want the cheap leads.
Yeah. Does anyone understand how SEO works?
Well, Google released, so Jody, I was going to say, and John will wrap up with what you were going to say. Google released the algorithm, not intentionally, this year. And it does take into account social signals. So Jody's right. If you're active on these channels, Google is seeing that, giving some credit to it. It's also taking on dwell time and bounce rate. So if people are coming on and there's no video testimonials, there's no office walkthroughs, there's nothing engaging there, and they see people bouncing back, it screws your SEO up. So Jody's actually spot on. We did see some of that in the algo release. Still, it changes every quarter, so who knows? John?
Yeah, what I was going to say was to piggyback off of the question. As you're getting away from referrals and insurance, and no matter what marketing channel you leverage, the importance of tracking, making sure that you can track your efforts all the way through to the appointment, is going to help you paint that picture to your business stakeholders of the effectiveness of what you're doing. Yeah. And so again, no matter what channel you use, make sure your tracking is solid.
Yeah. Get a baseline KPI of some sort. You may not have a CRM that can track. Get a baseline. SEO did this, PTC did this, and now we're doing this, and this is how many appointments you used to get. This is how many. I love it, guys. This was phenomenal. Man, I had like 5 more questions I wanted to run by you guys. I guess it leaves us wanting for more or something. Anyways, Chris, John, Jody, thank you so much for your time. I think you'll have some fans coming to you on LinkedIn to send you all the questions we were not able to get to. This is awesome. This is a part of the community. And like I said, the topics today, y'all's answers, they didn't really just apply to dental. This applies to any healthcare services vertical. So thank you guys so much. The chat was litty, if you will, and I wish I could have seen them all and commented, but hopefully you guys saw that. Recordings will go out. You guys take a nice break. Thank you so much for joining us and giving us 45 minutes of your time. Back to changing the world.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See y'all.